All right, here we go, everyone. We're live on playback. Zain Zinger Part 2. Thanks again for joining me. Greatly appreciate your guys' time and support as we try to transition from the month of August to the month of September. Hope you guys can hear me just fine. My name is Sam Bando again. Hope you are having a wonderful long weekend as tomorrow is Labor Day and tomorrow is the start of a brand new month. If you guys can believe it, we've reached August 31st. We are one day away from September, which means as of right now, we're 20 days away from my birthday, which is very exciting. We're not here to dwell about me, really. We're here to talk about other stuff in the world of sports. We're here to talk about college football. We're here to dissect a little bit more on the UFC's recent announcements earlier in this or late this past week. We're also going to talk about the UFC's finalization of the White House card, my ideal main card for who I think should be a part of it, and a few other things as well on the docket too. So it's Sunday morning. Most of the college football games for the weekend have wrapped up as they were Thursday to Saturday. There's a few today, a few later today. The big one being South Carolina's home opener against Virginia Tech. A lot of meeting there with the Beamer family connection. There's also the huge game tonight, Notre Dame and Miami. That's the other major Power Four conference game. And then, of course, tomorrow night on Labor Day, North Carolina, Bill Belichick's college coaching debut versus TCU. So that'll be interesting as well. But let's get into it, though. I was in Champaign Friday to watch Illinois' season opener against Western Illinois. Illinois wins the game 52-3. Luke Altmaier with 217 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, two of them to newly minted Ball State transfer wide receiver Justin Bowick. The other one went to Tanner Arkin. That was the first touchdown of the season. Hank Beatty had an insane punt return touchdown, which was just ridiculous. He's a complete speedster there. Just a freak run back for him. And the defense did well. Gabe Atkins had 2 sacks, kept Western Illinois' offense to under 100 yards overall. Overall, it was just a great win, a dominant win for Bielema. He covers the spread, and it's one of those where you chalk it up and you move on to the next one. For full context, my predictions record for Illinois football games, specifically this past year, was 10-3, which was the same record that the football team finished with. However, a few of the games or one of the games I picked, rather, Illinois won instead of lost. I said they would lose to Michigan as one of their 3 losses. They won that game. But in any event, though, started out 1-0 on the year. I did pick Illinois to win this game. I thought Western Illinois would score to maybe one more touchdown. They didn't, and obviously, they're not a very good football team. Illinois did what they needed to do against them. Just overall, the game was one thing, but guys, you gotta understand something. This atmosphere Friday night, for those of you who were there, was just freaking electric. It was the largest attended home opener since 2009. Okay, which is pretty crazy. I don't remember why. Well, I wasn't following them then, so I don't remember why the 2009 opener was such a big deal because they went to the Rose Bowl in 07-08. So I don't really know where that came from per se, but what I can tell you is it's clear the fans have bought in, the student section is bought in. That was full from the beginning of the game, which was extremely impressive. You usually never see that. Um, and then just the electricity in the air. I mean, the 2005 men's basketball team being back there, I'm sure added more motivation. Chase Brown and Johnny Newton were on the sidelines. They came back to watch their alma mater play. They didn't. They didn't. Chase Brown had been to a game. I think about a year and a half ago. Excuse me, but I don't remember when Johnny Newton's last presence at the game was. So that was cool to see both of them. Um, it was a great win. What else was there to really say? Um, Bielema, I think he realizes he has some things he needs to clean up, but I think overall, he was impressed with the way his guys played. They did what they needed to do. They dominated the first half. And Luke Altmaier admitted post game on TV and post game to select media. I had left before he had spoken, but he talked about how he just needs to get better individually. He knows he didn't play his best game, even though he was relatively flawless for the most part. Only 4 incompletions, I think, was the total number there. But still, I thought overall, from a showing standpoint, this team showed out. I mean, this defense has a chance to be legit, led by Atkins, who's a very underrated Heisman Trophy sleeper possibility for sure. And then there's a tweet dating back to the end of or the beginning of last year with records. Let me give you a few of these. Some of these other teams on here are impressive. Let's take a look. And by the way, shout out to everyone on social media. The tweet just went out a couple of minutes ago. So if you guys want to check out the stream right now, we'll be on for about, I'd say we'll give till close to 11:30 Eastern, if not a little bit before. So if you guys want to jump in, chat with me, ask me questions, do any of that sort of thing, please do so. Use the super chat. Reply to me on Twitter. I'll probably respond there too. But I want you to come in and join the stream. It's free to do so, guys. Playback.tv/GTV Network. You want to go there for all of the latest news and information as a supplement to our YouTube channel. Again, that's youtube.com/GTV Network. We just hit 1,000 subscribers over there. So again, we greatly appreciate all of your support, whether it's over here with us and doing stuff like Puck Talk or Press Row or Zain Zinger Part 2, or even some of the new stuff that's going to be dropping as well. Thursday Night Forecast, Gridiron Gurus, Unnecessary Wagers, which returns September 2nd. That's going to be a great show. Noteworthy in the NCAA with Will Charlton is back. Just figured I would plug as many of the playback streams as I possibly could. Overall, though, my first experience of the year in Champaign couldn't have gone any better. Shout out to everyone who made it possible. And of course, shout out to the Illinois Athletic Department for always taking care of me and all of us that cover the programs, because we couldn't do it literally without you guys. And it was an electric atmosphere. Also, shout out to everyone on Twitter that interacted with the tweet. I'm still going through all the messages. But guys, seriously, I'm going to make a public service announcement right here. I'll plug it as we get closer. I'm going to the first two Big Ten games of the year at home, USC and Ohio State. Those are for sure. Haven't decided what I'm doing in November. There's 2 games in November. More than likely, you'll see me at both of them. Well, no, there's 3 games in November, but the first 2, you will more than likely see me at both of those games. The ones on November 1st and 15th. But in any event, though, if any of you guys interacted with the tweet yesterday and would like to meet me, I will do an informal meet the fans before one of those 2 games, and I can kick it with all of you guys. Because, okay, here's the thing in regards to that tweet. Okay, I was very emotional in that tweet. You have to understand, I was one of these fans. Okay, I would sit in Block Eye as a student for 3 years, thinking the same thing that every other fan was thinking. When is this going to turn around? And due to my own persistence and my own due diligence, I did what I set out to do, which was I wanted to cover the team. And I started covering the team from a media standpoint officially in 2022. We're now in 2025. But I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been that fan in Section 132. I'll be transparent and say I do have season tickets as well. So I've been that fan in the past where I always wanted as much hope as the next person. So I eventually want to be the pulse of what is the fan thinking, because I was one of you guys, and me covering this team, it feels like I'm doing it not just for me, but I'm doing it for Illinois Twitter. I'm doing it for all the people that have the important questions about the state of the program, and I want to do the best I can to try to answer as many of those as I can. So thanks to you guys and all your support. Again, it means the absolute world to me. And again, thank you for all the messages. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you guys have been everywhere. Again, if you guys want to meet, I will do an informal meet the fans, probably near Grange Grove, either before USC or before Ohio State. Both are going to be crazy atmospheres. But basically, what I'm saying is, if you see me, if you want to say hi, I will be more than happy to take a few minutes to say hi to each and every one of you because you guys are the lifeblood. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for the fan support, man. I'm almost I would not be able to do this if it wasn't for the fan support and if it wasn't for their belief in us. Because I think a lot of people, and this is no disrespect to anyone, but I think a lot of people take these beat writers for granted. And I am certainly I don't consider myself one. I consider myself a journalist, but I also consider myself a voice of the fan, and I also consider myself someone who is forging his own path. I'm not taking a traditional path. I I may I may work for places, but I certainly stay in my own lane and I do my own thing. I don't go for what is the traditional thing to do. I want to try to be able to do things that other people just aren't doing because they aren't being innovative with it. I mean, now it's all about social media. Now it's all about, I do stuff like this because there are places where I know I can't openly share my opinion on things. So this is my way of doing that. This is my way of supplementing the writing that I do for the video and audio work that I do. So I want people of a different audience to be able to tune in and say, "Oh, if you want Zan's real thoughts on what just happened from where he was over the weekend, be sure to check out his streams. If you want the traditional cookie cutter journalism style of things, go and read his written work or go and check out his written work." So it may not be the greatest way to do it, and who knows? I may even be doing it the wrong way, and I have no idea. But I am doing it in the way that I think is going to serve the public well. And that tweet was more so not just for me, but for everyone who has supported me for a long time, who read my work when I didn't have direct access to teams or coaches, and it's for the people who saw that I used to reply to everything and I used to retweet every single recruit's visit tweet. I don't do that as much anymore, but I see everything, etc., etc. My point is I'm doing my best to be, I guess, the go-to source for how or for what it means to really understand the pulse of what's going on, because I feel like too many of these people, and again, no names mentioned, I'm not going to do that. Um Too many people I just don't really feel like, and it's just a general observation, I just feel like most of them don't understand or recognize um how the fans feel the way that they feel, because they didn't attend the university, number one, or number two, they weren't as entrenched in it. And again, there are people who are, so I'm not going to exclude them. There are a few exceptions, but most people, it's just an observation, having been in that environment for a couple of years, I have a perspective that I don't think very many people can bring, because I was one of those black eye kids. I was one of those orange crush kids. So I know what it's like when those fans are frustrated, or those fans are particularly disenchanted with the way their football team or basketball team is playing. And now they have a lot to cheer about. But I remember when I was going there were some rough nights where you didn't know if the stadium was going to be empty. You didn't know if the stadium was going to be half full. You didn't know how long people were gonna stay. Like, it was a whole thing to where in 2020 everything just shifted. And now look at where basketball is. They're going to the NCAA tournament every year. They're getting to at least the second game. Obviously they went deep a few years ago. They went to the Elite Eight, but they're going to the NCAA tournament. Illinois, they're finally getting to bowl games. Can they make it 2 years in a row where they go to a bowl game? This is the stigma that's been attached to them for years, is they can never follow up a good season with another good season. Ever since I followed the program, every single well, there's only been a few good seasons, I guess, since I followed the program. But basically, every single time this program, since I've been following them for now 7 years, I'm like later to this. I didn't really adopt them until I got to school. I was Michigan State all the way, and then D'Antonio left, and obviously Izzo is still there, but the basketball program doesn't hit the same as it used to. That's a story for another time. But upon getting to Illinois, though, every good year has been followed up by a bad season. 2019, 6-7, went to a bowl. 2020 was the COVID year, 2-6. Then 2022, 8-5. 2023, huge expectations that they were going to take that leap up into the top half of the Big Ten, went 5-7, and then last year shocked the world, went 10-3. So, I mean, yeah, who knows, really? But win number one is win number one. You check off Eastern Illinois. You go to Duke next week, play Darian Mensa and company. They're a good football team. Can Illinois win? I guess you'll find out in a couple of days when I do Bando's breakdowns as well as Forever Power 5. That's enough of Illinois, though. Let's move on now. Week one so far has been good. We obviously spoke on, you'll get my full reaction rather to Florida State, Alabama, and of course Ohio State knocking off number one Texas tomorrow on Bandos Blitz. Apologies for the late release on that. We're going to be better about that moving forward. I had a lot of scheduling gaffes pop up before I went to Champaign on Friday, so stay tuned. It's already in production. It'll be up here tomorrow morning as you kick off your Labor Day. But nevertheless, though, college football week one has gone well so far. Week Corso finished with a winning record on headgear picks all time. Pretty sure it was 287 wins or something. So congrats to Week Corso there as well on a phenomenal career with College Game Day. Went a little deeper into Corso and Bandos Blitz, but again, just wanted to give him a shout out there. Let's move over now, though, to the UFC fall calendar and the UFC confirming its plans at the White House. So let's talk about this. So the UFC is back this coming Saturday in Paris, France. That's a UFC Fight Night card. Then the next week, they go back to the United States for another Fight Night card in San Antonio. That is the Diego Lopez John Silva main event, the same night as Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford for the Super Middleweight Championship at Allegiant Stadium. Okay. To be determined as to which fight I will be covering remotely. Once that is official, I will let you guys know and such. So there's that as well. So that was that. Um, then they have a week off the weekend of my birthday. There's no major UFC event that weekend. Then the following weekend, they go to Perth, Australia. That'll be a pretty good card. That is, I'm pretty sure it's the Carlos Alberg. It's the Carlos Alberg fight at in Perth as well. That's the main event for that. I'm pretty sure. Then the next week, they come back to Vegas for a headline spot. It's Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prohaska, or not Yuri Prohaska. What am I saying? Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. I'm sorry, Alex Pereira beat Yuri Prohaska in his second to last UFC light heavyweight title defense before giving up the belt. That's my bad there. I don't know why Yuri was in my head there, but in any event, the co-main event, Corey Sandhagen and Rob Davalichvili, that's a championship doubleheader. Then the next week, it's going to be October 11th, Charles Oliveira, Rafael Fiziev. That is in Brazil. That's the main event. That's a huge fight. Is it too quick of a turnaround for Oliveira? That remains to be seen. Then the next week, it's RDR versus Anthony Hernandez from Vancouver. That's an awesome fight. More than likely a title eliminator as well. What else is there? I'm gonna double check the Vancouver, but I think that's the planned main event. Yeah, Ritter versus Hernandez. Yep, I was correct on that. All right. Then the next week, it's another championship doubleheader. This fight was newly announced. It's the vacant strawweight championship rematch. Amanda Hebos, or excuse me, not Amanda Hebos, Mackenzie Dern versus Jandaroba, Vernon Jandaroba. Then the main event for that, obviously, is a huge fight, heavyweight championship. Tom Aspinall, Sterling. Then we move over into November. There's an Apex event November 1st. That doesn't have a main event yet. November 8th, I'm pretty sure there's another Apex, but that hasn't been confirmed by the UFC. But what has been confirmed by the UFC is November 15th. Main event of the evening, Islam Makhachev, Jack Della Maddalena. And then, of course, the women's flyweight super fight that we've waited years to see. Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang in the co-main event of the evening. The winner wins the UFC flyweight championship, and again, Weili Zhang will vacate her strawweight championship to let Dern and Jandaroba fight for it a month earlier. Okay, then they go to Qatar November 22nd, and then December is not fully confirmed, so I don't want to say what's in December until I know. But that is the UFC fall calendar. They're going everywhere, mostly international again. They've got Perth on the schedule, Vancouver, Brazil, Qatar, and then of course they hit Vegas. They hit San Antonio, and of course they hit New York too. So they're hitting a couple places. So that's the end of your schedule. They're not really going on the road in the United States in the second half of the year, which is a little disappointing. Maybe the final December um, fight night will allow that, or the November 1st card, which I don't believe has a location yet. I can even double check. I don't think it does. But that is the schedule for the UFC coming up. They have a few weeks and then off September 20th, and then of course they're off on Thanksgiving weekend as well. Let's take a look here. Yeah, Alberg and Dominic Reyes was that other one I was thinking about. Yeah. UFC is yet to officially announce its event on November 1st. It is also yet to officially announce whether it'll have an event on November 8th. But knowing the UFC, that'll probably be the case, or who knows, there may be a rare weekend off November 8th, which would be very unusual. But there's that as well. So that is the UFC fall calendar. Speaking of the calendar, the White House card, 4th of July next year, is done. Dana White confirmed it on a private jet flying back from Washington, D.C. late Thursday night that the meeting with the president that he had planned to have on August 28th went really well. Apparently, they got a deal done to do the White House card for next year that night. So it's locked, loaded, and everything is in motion now. They must have figured out the cage weight situation. There was an issue, 25,000 pounds. It was going to be too heavy to host it on the South Lawn. I don't know what the UFC did to fix that problem, but knowing them and knowing that they always get things done, they fixed it. And I'm sure it'll look great on TV as well as unbelievable in person. I don't know if I'm going to go yet. If I do go, of course, you guys are going to know if I'm there. I would like to go. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but of course, that's up to just the powers that be. So whatever. I just kind of go with the every event I go to, whether it's college football, any other sport, college football, UFC. Those two are for work, but any other sport where I'm a fan, I just let things flow, man. I go when I feel I need to go, or when I have plans to go, and then if I don't go and I can get rid of my tickets, that's usually what I end up doing. But I try to go more times than get rid of. So that's just how I am as a human being when it comes to sporting events. Usually, when I spend the money, I try to go to as many as I can. Otherwise, I would be wasting money, right? So that would not make sense. But in any event, though, it should be a good one. I don't know who's going to be on the card yet. I don't want to speculate who's going to be on the card yet. It's too early, but it should be a fun day of sports. There's going to be a lot of baseball on that day. The Cubs are playing that day at home. So 4th of July next year is going to be extremely festive in a lot of ways to celebrate America's 250th birthday. I've been rambling on now for the last 25 or so minutes. I'm pretty much done. This has been Zain Zinger Part 2. My name is Ian Bando. Thanks again so much for tuning in to another edition on Playback. Again, playback.tv/GTV Network is where you can find all of this content, including every edition of this program. We'll be back next week to preview the NFL. We're going to go over the rest of my NFL Survivor predictions, those that weren't shared um, on Bando's Blitz as well. That's going to be a new thing now where all the other survivor picks, I'll give you those before all the NFL games. So stay tuned for all that and so much more. I'm excited to get more into football as football gets underway. And we'll give you records and all that stuff when we have some more time to sit down and be a little bit more transparent about it. But I figured I would give you guys that heads up as well before we continue on with the impending NFL season. So thanks again for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the remaining college football games in week number 1 today and tomorrow. And I will talk to you guys soon. And I guess a way too early happy September and happy soon to be fall to each of you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your day off for those of you who have it tomorrow. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.